Okay, welcome to another Curse of Fey, in which our intrepid explorers try and get their head round this crazy Fey-like world and see if they can survive another week. Last time we played, we were down one person, Tisfin was not here, but now we have a full party in the chat ready to go, and so we will see what shenanigans happen. At the end of the previous session, our group left the ancient grove that they had been taken to in the depths of the forest. Somewhat maybe somber after their meeting with the ancient dryad, unaware or unsure as to the steps they will take next in order to either appease the forest or defy the forest. And as they made their way back, each taking a turn to try and guide Giggles, or Giggles to guide them, back through the forest and back to Lakeshorn. We had a few upsets. The trees seemed to not bow out of your way or not be as helpful as they had been previously, allowing you to pass through their pathways unhindered. Amros tripping over many roots, getting his horns tangled in trees, and generally and generally pointing out all the pitfalls for the rest of the party. But you do to finally manage to get yourselves through the forest and back to Lakeshorn, and stop off at the Eristry estate, meeting again your friend Johan, who was in their normal condition of several bottles of liqueur deep, as they pretty much have been since you've been here in the Feywild, and welcomed you in, and you told him of how you had managed to slay the beast that had attacked, or as far as you know, has attacked the Fey's family, killing their father and also biting his sister. He was surprised, but also gladdened by the fact that this beast now did not draw breath. And although pleased to know that it ceased to be a problem, was also still worried about his sister. She still remains in the same condition. By killing this beast, it did not seem to end whatever ailment she has. But you did inform him of the possibility of some kind of healer, holy man, perhaps, somewhere else in the Feywild, a town called Prigwort, that possibly would have a solution to the problem. But this is, well, you don't know how far this is away. In the Feywild itself, it's very difficult to gauge time and distance, as you well know. But there is possibly a solution there. After downloading this information and needing a rest after your consequences of your conversation with the Dryad, you also did mention to Johan about the fact that there was this conflict between the woodworkers, the woodcutters in town, and the Dryads, and needing to find some sort of solution or some way of making it, brokering peace between these two groups. But as the evening went on and more drinks were consumed, certain party members fell to the increasing level of alcohol in their system. Everyone did end up with a little bit of a drink. Tisfin, I assumed that you would probably remain teetotal. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yes. Okay, so that was an easy role play for me. But I think everybody else, other than Giggles, Giggles kept you company, Tisfin. You were palling around with the doggo, while the others began drinking, and to celebrate, but also to provide more alcohol. Johan brought out a special kind of liquor that he also offered around. This being quite a strong alcoholic beverage. He never gave you a name for it, but it was quite a dark liquid with a sort of purple sheen on the top of it. It looked like it would be thicker, almost like you would be drinking oil, perhaps, but it was much thinner than it appeared to be, and very, very sweet. Basically, lolly water. You were able to drink it quite quickly, and some of you, Kane, were unable to handle too much of it, which, to begin with, you felt fine. But that's often how it goes. You have a little bit, think you're all right, and then it hits you a little bit later. And unfortunately, your armored friend collapsed in somewhat of a comatose state after drinking, downing quite a consumption of this liquid. Moira, you had a couple so. Galatea, you also had a little bit too, but maybe more reserved than everyone was Amros as well, sipping at his. While your hand,
maybe at first.
Oh yeah, maybe at first, but then when everybody else was drinking up, then you got into your cups then as well, and then Johan, seemingly mostly unaffected, probably because the alcohol level is so high in his body at most of the time, seemed to be necking the bottle and with unaffected. But after we'd had these drinks, it was then bedtime, and Moira and Amros, you were kind enough to take care of Kane, taking some of the ashes from the fireplace to leave him a little message that he could find, perhaps in the morning, on his forehead. And then, with the help of Johan, managed to carry Kane back into a back room, into another bedroom that was waiting there, and lay him down in his armor, which I believe Moira and Amros, you helped, or was it just Amros helped him take that armor off to make sure that he was comfortable in his
I think
comatose
it was
state?
just me, yeah.
Just you, okay. And then Moira, you returned to your own bedroom. Amros, you had a room as well that was available to you. Tisfan, you decided, or as I was playing you, decided to go into your normal meditative state, not needing the sleep, but having Giggles sort of like curled up in front of you as you went into this normal meditative state, keeping yourself semi-alert. And Galatea, you were offered your normal room, and he returned to his own.
Yep, that's how it happened. Nothing else.
Exactly. And then everyone was in their rooms and unaware of anything else that may have happened.
Exactly.
So during your during your stay there, a couple of you started to have some dreams, perhaps because of some of the trauma that you've been going through recently, perhaps just of events that have happened through the days. Your mind has been wandering while you were resting. Moira, you had dreams of your homeland, of family, of the quest that you had been sent on. To the day's events, giving you a sense of connection. There seemed to be something there, similarity, and you had a very deep connection to what the Dryad was saying, and probably felt that more than anyone else in the group. Amros, you also, from your experiences, initially found sleep a little bit difficult, but in your dream, you had this sort of, you heard this gentle yet powerful voice that seemed to calm you. It was unintelligible, or you don't remember the words, what was said to you, but it just gave you a sense of calm. And in this this dream like state, this sort of you were in this white void, and just at the periphery of your vision, you sense this serpent or dragon winged creature just floating around you, but every time you tried to look, it would just be out of reach, just be out of your eye line, and you just caught this sort of silver scales or silver colouring passing you by. Kane, you, after having a very sort of uneventful start to your dream, your mind clouded by the alcohol you had consumed, you fell into a much more lucid dream, and you found yourself standing at the edge of a vast, still lake. Its surface so smooth and reflective that it almost gave you the sort of the notion of it being almost like like glass, like a mirror of the sky. And the water stretched out before you, and in the distance, there was a small island that rose up in the middle of this lake. And upon it, you saw a figure clad in this gleaming silver armor. And from the distance that you were standing there, you estimate that this figure must have been at least 8 or 10 feet tall to be able to see it as clearly as you did. And this armor just sort of gleaming across at you. The figure itself seems somewhat familiar. Possibly you had seen this previously in your history. You shouted out across the lake to this figure, but got no response until a softer, more gentle voice could be heard from behind you, asking you what was going on. And who's the crazy guy behind you over there? What's he doing on the island? And we pick it up at that point, Kane, in your dream.
No, I don't think he's here.
Oh no, is he gone? Oh, I just missed the whole thing. Oh my goodness. Well, there you go. That's what happens. So in his dream, he dies. And if you die in the dream, as we know, you die in the fake real life. Well, very much like Amros and Moira, the fawn begins to draw on Kane's face.
The saltiness of the DM.
But she continues to poke and ask questions of Kane in his state, and we will see what happens with Kane once he's able to load back in. In the interim, there he is. I saw his face pop back up again.
As soon as you were about to move on.
Just in time.
The boy is back.
Is he here? Is he just logged in but cannot hear us?
The classical problems.
Trapdoor. Trapdoor,
get out of the bag. It's not the one shot this time.
Although the DM just said that you died, so.
Yeah. But the PC died. That was it.
Yeah.
You die in the game, you die. The PC dies.
The PC dies.
Well, hopefully we'll be rejoined by Trap in a second. In the interim, Tisfan, you have meditated for probably your 4 hours. I think it's 4 hours your maximum, is it?
Yep.
That you meditate for, and you come out of your trance to find Giggles just curled, sleeping happily at your feet. You are in in the house, the Eristry estate. It is quiet. It is dark. The lights have been doused, and you can hear the gentle noises of slumber from rooms around you. Is there anything you wish to do while you have this opportunity?
System would most likely go through his morning rituals, look over his gear, small prayer. Then he would most likely walk around just to look in on his team members, see so everyone's all right.
It's so mean.
Yeah, you are able to just crack the door and open and look into the room. Most people who are deep in slumber, Amros, you see, sorry, Tisfan, you see Kane in bed, his armor carefully placed by the side of him, seemingly in a deep sleep. And you know that he had drunk quite a good amount of alcohol, so probably won't be waking for some time. Moira, curled up in her bed, sleeps, seemingly at peace as well. And the same for Amoros, just sleeping. And probably the most peaceful out of the three. Do you check on Galatea as well?
Yes, he would.
You approach Galatea's room, or the room that you saw her go to, and you're surprised to find the bed empty. There hasn't been slept in at all, and Galatea nowhere to be seen.
At that point, Tisfan would be rather worried. Start carefully looking through other rooms in the house, just to see if Galatea's there. But he wouldn't wake anyone just yet.
Okay. So there is a hallway that basically goes back towards the back of the house, and at the end there is a door on the left and the door on the right. Which one would you like to go through?
Carefully open the door on the left and just peek in.
Okay. As you crack the door open and look into this room, a shard of no, there's no light, is there? So, but you have dark vision. So
yes,
you look into that room, and even without the light, you were able to see clearly, and you see Johan laying on the bed with a fast asleep Galatea laying next to him.
Tisfan will just nod his head, close the door, and then just go back to like the living room or similar. Maybe clear out some or put away some bottles or anything left out.
Yep.
Oh, he's tiny.
Just tiny. Yeah. So in the front room where you were, there were several bottles and tumblers around. There's still the coffin on the coffee table, although it's closed, but it's still there on the table. Hasn't been moved since you first arrived.
Look inside.
And there is off of the area that you were sitting in, where you were meditating. There was a small sort of kitchen area towards there. There's also a small study that Johan was in sleeping when you first arrived as well, just to one side through a set of double doors.
So Tisvan would start cleaning up a bit in the living room. Once that's done, if nobody else is awake, he will probably look around a bit in the study.
Okay. So you go into the study. There is a chaise longue in there where Johan had been sleeping previously when you first there. There are many more bottles in this room. Various different containers and glasses and things that have piled up over time. Still not messy. There still seem to be an order to them all, which is surprising because most of the time people who drink a lot usually don't care about that stuff, but there is some sort of order at least, or trying to be clean and tidy with what they're doing. But also in the room you find there's a desk. There are many sort of papers sort of strewn about on the top of it. There seems to be, just on the very surface, various letters, and there is also a what looks like a plan or a blueprint of such, to look like some sort of extension or some sort of a part of a house that looks like it's going to be built.
Since there seems to be some sort of order to the bottles and stuff, Tisvan won't touch those since, well, he doesn't know if anything's importance in them. But he would look through the papers, look over the blueprint, without moving too much about in case of something going missing or similar.
Sure. So the blueprint itself, as I described it, it basically looks like the plans to build perhaps an additional wing or a room or something. And from what you can see and your knowledge of the outside of this house as well, it does look like there was some plan to build an extension onto the current house. From what Johan and his sister had said previously that their father was basically about to be engaged to her name's escaped me at the moment, but to another character who so you could probably surmise from that maybe this was an extension they were building if they were going to increase the size of the family they had there. Let me just see if I can find her name, because now I want to know. Yes, Leah Zervani, or Leah was probably what she was told you your name was. But yeah, this female character Leah, and all you know of her was what Johan had said, that she had. He believes she may have run off or disappeared. He didn't quite see when the attack happened. The rest of the documents that you find in there seems to be some correspondence between the father and this Leah, backwards and forwards. There was obviously just giving these a sort of a once over, not really sort of going into too much detail, but looking at the first couple of lines of these ones, there's obviously correspondence backwards and forwards about them meeting, about the father sort of suggesting about them making their relationship more than it is at the moment. You also notice that there seems to be not a reluctance from Leah, but there almost seems to be a sort of suggestion in some of the notes that they needed to be careful, that they needed to keep it a secret, and that they shouldn't advertise this too much. They should keep their relationship on the down low.
Okay. Tisman will keep that in mind, but he won't touch much else. He'll probably trying to continue doing nice things for people. We'll probably go back to Kane's room and start looking over his armor, see if there's anything needing to be done, any cleaning of it, stuff like that, just to keep it in top shape.
Aww.
There, I will say that there was one other thing that you notice on the desk with the letters and things as well. It's not actually a letter; it's more of a pad that's been used to something has been written on there. There's the quill that's obviously been used, but there's just more of an indentation. So if you want to give me an investigation to see if there's any other information you can get from that.
All right, investigation. One of my worst ones.
A 9. Yeah, you don't really. There's something obviously was written here, and there must have been a fair amount of pressure when this whatever the letter was on top of this was written. The indentations you struggle to see what it is. There's no lights or anything on either, but it's unclear as to what that is. But something was written here in a not in a rush, but with vigor. Something that was written here with meaning. And then you go into Kane's room and you start looking at his armor. Is that right?
Yeah, looking over, cleaning it up.
Yeah,
stuff I usually do with my own armor.
Yeah, it seems to be well looked after that your own, but yes, through whatever travel has happened in the last day or so, a little bit of cleaning and mending may be required just to keep it maintained. So that's easily done. Do we have a Kane back? Oh, and then as he disappears from the Discord chat.
Oh no!
The timing.
Okay.
He was back, and the moment you needed him, he vanished.
He vanished immediately. He heard his name and he ran. He's like, "No, I don't want to deal with the stream." Okay, well, so you how well do you clean this armor? Let's role play that for the next half an hour.
Can he just like pop on his phone or something so he can at least listen?
He might need to, yeah. Someone suggests that to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, you spend some time, cleaning this armor and do that. If there's anything else you'd like to do,
say that he was jumping over to his, or Luna said that he was going to be jumping over to his phone.
oh, okay, cool. Well, we'll wait on bated breath and see if he comes back in a moment. But yeah, so Tisman, you continue. You look at this armor and you try and maintain that. Giggles and the rest of the party remain asleep until the hours of the morning.
Nights are lonely when you're an elf.
And
But yeah, no, he will clean up Kane's armor, sporadically go around checking in on Moira and Amoros. We'll leave Galatea and Yorhan to whatever it is. But yeah.
perfect. All right. Well, what we'll do is we will continue to the early hours of the morning, and then if we get Kane back again, we'll retcon and go back to his dream. So,
Okay.
in the morning, there is Tisman, actually. You will be the only one sort of awake and around. You've probably either finished or just finishing off the armor. May have taken it back to where you were meditating. It's the biggest area, has a table and that, and I say there's a kitchen not too far away from there as well. So if you needed any supplies or water or something like that, you were able to get it from there. Again, this is difficult to tell because the time-wise here, it's still twilight, but based on the fact that roughly how long you meditate for, the time that you need there, you would estimate when you start hearing noises from down the corridor that it's probably getting to the early hours of the morning. And you hear from down the corridor the click of a handle and a door opening. And after a few moments, you hear the soft footsteps coming down the hallway. And coming round the corner, you see the delicate form of Sahana Eristri. She comes round the corner into the room and for a moment is surprised to see you sitting in between her and the kitchen with the armor. And if she was able to make a sound, she may have made a gasp in seeing you. As it is, she just makes the motion and covers her mouth as if she would make a noise, but nothing comes out. And after a moment of realizing who you are, she nods and waves as a hello, not knowing that you and the others have actually attended because she wasn't there in the evening when you got there.
Good morning, Sohana. Everything all right?
And she nods and smiles, and she mimics sort of like stretching her arms as if like, oh, yeah, morning time, that kind of thing. And she points and walks into the kitchen and gets herself a mug of water. And she turns back to you and she sort of gestures and you.
Oh, I'm doing all right. Gets a bit lonely during the morning hours when everyone else is asleep, but I've got some stuff done. Oh, right. We came by late last night with some information. I believe you were already asleep by then, and Jorhan offered to let us stay over for the night.
And she'll come back. She'll sit at the table where there's actually a pad and or some parchment and some charcoal or a pen or something like that she had been previously using, having this being her lot in life now to write notes. She scribbles down on the paper and passes it over to you. And written on there would just be, "Oh, You are always more than welcome to stay here. My brother and I are happy to have you in our home.
I appreciate hearing that. What we informed your brother of is that, well, we found, I guess you have to say, a Chernobog. Managed to, I would say, kill it, but it turned, well, the body of the Chernobog dissolved into some form of half-elf. Then we were greeted by some form of forest spirit, which brought us to the mistress of the forest, which informed us that Chernobog was not the only one, and that we need to kill the main one.
She, while you've been saying this, she's sort of written down on the pad, and the first thing she writes is, there are more than one? How many?
We don't know, but we know that there is a main one that has created spawn, possibly through bites.
You see her eyes go wide at this, and she starts writing down on the pad again. And she turns that towards you, and it says, Am I going to change into one of these things?
We're gonna do everything in our power to stop it. We have some clues, some things we could try. There is a healer.
She sits stunned currently, unaware of what her current predicament is. Previously unaware of what this might be, whether it was a disease or some kind of ailment that had fallen to her. But now hearing that this creature, that through its bite may be able to create more of its kind, and then knowing that her body has changed, that she has suffered multiple bites, now extremely concerned about her own welfare going forward.
We got information about a healer in Prigwort that might be able to help, and the mistress of the forest also said that killing the main Chernobog could be able to stop others from turning. So we have some options going forward, but we are going to do everything that we can to make sure that you will be fully back to normal again.
Sana stands and nods. You can tell that she's holding back tears in her eyes, and that she appears to be extremely worried about probably not only her own safety, but now worried about what might happen, whether she would lose control. She writes down and asks you, who was the elf? Who was it? What did they look like?
Out of character, I don't remember your description of the half-elf.
Well, I didn't really give you much fun because no one really asked. So he was a half-elf. And that's about all you knew.
I mean, technically, I think it was.
You
We
knew that.
found the body, we confirmed a few things, and before we actually properly investigated, we realized, wait, Giggles and Galatea are not here with us. We should check on
Yeah.
them. And then came the
Yeah,
forest things.
yeah, pretty much that. Yeah, you
He
you
was
turned him
naked.
over. You turned him over, and you examined his body to see about wounds and what he died from, but you never really took any time to really look at him, take any of his vital information. So I'll say, give me well, let's say that when you were looking, I would have asked you to give me a perception check to sort of take in that information, or investigation probably to really look at the details. So if you want to give me an investigation with disadvantage now to see what information you could possibly remember or would have seen when you turned over the body.
I'll try it.
Go for it. Oh, that's a
Ooh.
1.
Yikes.
Not a natural one, but it's still low. So, yeah, you really weren't at that time. You were about to, decapitate to kill this thing, and then this happened. This oozing of this ichor and revealing the body, and you were probably just stunned and like, oh, what's this? And then it was the others that I think who did a more thorough investigation than you. And then there was the concern of where's Galatea. So in that moment, this not being a threat and being an elven man or and being dead, there was less concern about who this was or what that was. It was more about in the moment, where's Galatea and is she safe compared to what's been going on at the moment. So you don't really recall any details about this other than it was an elven man, brownish hair.
Pretty young, if I remember correctly.
That's right. There was confusion for a while about the age. I said in 30s, but then we had a conversation about what does that mean in elf years. But yeah, 30-ish looking elven man. That was about all. You didn't really see any proper details. And of course, you left him in the forest, so you don't know what he is, or he's not close by to go and check. So unfortunately, that's all the information you have.
Yeah, we did
don't-
leave him at the. Whoops.
So Tisdom will say, well, to be honest, there was a lot happening right then. I don't exactly remember how he looked. I would say brown hair, half elf, I remember. Quite young. You would say he looked about 30 in a human age span. But that's about it, sadly.
She nods, not seeming to kind of have any knowledge or didn't sound familiar to anyone that she might have known. And as she sips her glass of water and thinks deeply about what has been said, she writes again and says, Do you know how to get to Prigwort?
I do not. I don't know if the rest of the group has any other information on how to get there. But if we decide that Prigwort is the location, then we were talking about bringing you with us to get you to the healer as soon as possible, not having to make him travel back here and waste time on that.
And she nods, and she writes again. My brother has been there. I will ask him to lead us or to tell you the way. It seems I have little choice but to join you. I appreciate you looking out for me. I will try not to be too much of a burden. And she gets up from her chair and walk slowly back down the corridor towards her room. As you sit there, you hear the click of the door, and then you hear Johan's voice. I'm just looking for what he said. I'm just looking for what he said. Hang on 1 second. And you hear him quietly because it's down the corridor, but you hear him say, "Oh, Sahana, good morning. How did you sleep?" To which there is no answer because Sahana cannot speak currently. And then you hear the door shut again, and then you hear a second door shut.
Sisvan will just quietly bow his head and pray for Sahana to be okay, or help in making sure that she will be okay.
Very good.
What do you mean? From what she's seen?
And then after you begin that, it's only a few moments later, but then you hear the door click again. And footsteps. But because you are currently in prayer, can you give me a perception check to see if you are more focused on your prayer than you are at what is going on around you currently? It's a 9. Okay, so
Getting all the crappy rolls out so I can get another natural 20 in the next combat.
That's right, as it's saving them up. So you are probably aware. You hear the sort of a click of the door again, but you know you've seen that Sahana is up. She may have gone back to her room to get something. You heard Johan's voice, so obviously people are starting to move around. So you just concentrate on the thing that you're doing at the moment. There just seems to be no danger currently.
I just continue with my prayer.
Moira would be emerging from her room at this point. Just kind of stretching and yawning and
And you wake up, Moira, in your room. You've had a reasonably restful night, but it's felt good to sleep in a soft, comfy bed. And the weight of the things that happened to you previously seem a little less so pressing on your mind this morning after a good night's rest and sleeping off the alcohol that you had as well. You wake to what you assume is a morning, having the light of the day never changing when you get up, when you open your eyes again. But you do also hear, movement, some stirring from in the house. So if you wish to leave your room, you can.
I get up, make the bed, and I guess enter the living room. Oh, and Moira is about to be like, "Oh, good. Oh, sorry, okay." Like, noticing that Tisvan is in the prayer and be like, "Oh, sorry, I'll be quiet." Okay. Silently closing the door and just kind of going to sit on a chair.
Yeah, there's you come into the main room. The living room where you were drinking last night is empty currently. And you say Tisvan is just down the hall.
Sorry.
Sorry?
Right. Sorry, I forgot about that.
Okay. But yeah, but Tisman is just off in this sort of little area just between the hallway and the kitchen, and you see, yes, he's in prayer at the moment. But you don't see currently anyone else at the moment. Other people. There were noises that you may have possibly heard, doors clicking and some voices at some point, but now it seems to just be Tisfan, and even Giggles you see as you come around the corner, gives a big yawn and sort of rolls and stretches on the floor, licking his lips and looking up to see you, wagging his tail as you come around the corner. Do we have a trapdoor? Does we have Kane back in our lives?
I was about to say, this is the first time I've realised I'm happy to see a trap.
Testing.
Yes.
Yay!
Hey, you're better than you.
You're here!
Welcome.
I'm using alternative technologies. I don't understand why my computer picks these times to crap out.
It just hates us.
It can't handle
Jealous.
D&D. Well,
It can
then, as we don't know how long we'll have Kane for, let's jump back onto that dream sequence
Yeah, go,
before we
go.
lose him again. But we will pick up with Moira in 1 second. So, Kane, I will... did you hear any of what I was saying earlier, or had you already lost connection at that point?
I'm not sure.
Okay, I'll give you the description again. So, in your dream, after you had got past that initial state of inebriation that had kind of given you this dreamless sort of state that you were in, you then go into this sort of lucid dream where you're standing at the edge of a vast still lake. The water, the surface of it, so smooth and still that it seemed to reflect the twilight sky above, almost like a mirror. And stretching out before you in the distance within this lake, there is a small island that rises up within the center. And upon it, as you look across across this lake, you see a figure in gleaming silver armor standing there, somewhat taller than you think would the normal height of a human, probably 8 to 10 feet tall based on the distance away. An imposing figure, but at this distance, still small. And the figure gives off you a sort of a familiar sense. You recall that you saw a figure similar to this before. I wonder if you can remember where.
Sorry, what was that last part?
I wonder if you remember. This figure seems familiar to you. I wonder if you can recollect where you might have seen them before.
They were a knight. Were
That's
they
correct.
a knight?
That's right, yeah.
Kane has had unsavory visions of a knight in his past. I remember that his dreams. Most nights had been plagued by a figure that seemed to be clad in armor.
Mm. And there was also a period, a point when you first arrived in the Feywild. You may not remember, but there was I mentioned you seeing a vision of a knight before you were brought to this world, or in fact, when you came here, I think you saw a vision. But it has been some time ago, so perhaps you have forgotten. Anyway, the stillness of this lake and the weight of the silence around you begins to feel... It feels more than a dream. It feels to be sort of charged with some sort of meaning to you. And you feel that the appearance of this armored figure must have some significance. You'd seen this in dreams before, and although you're unsure as to what it means, the figure stands motionless across this water, seemingly staring out towards you. But as you stand there and you call out towards it, although it gives you no response, you do hear the voice of a lighter voice, a younger voice of a faun, who approaches you from behind, putting their arms through yours and saying, "Oh, who's this guy over here? What do you think he wants? Are we supposed to go and say hello to him, or what is going on? This is such a crazy dream."
I love her.
I was wondering when you would show up. This isn't the usual dream that I've been having. This is different.
Oh, well, it's so pretty around here. It's so quiet. The world is it's like the world is waiting for something to happen. Have you been here long? Have I just arrived?
Long enough to try and communicate with the tall figure across the lake, but I've yet to have a response. Perhaps they can't hear me.
Well, that's probably right. It's quite a long way over there. Do you think the tall person over there wants to talk to you? Or does he not like you? Is he staying over there so he doesn't have to talk to you anymore? Do you know him?
I know of him. I do not know him.
Oh, well.
I do not even know if it is a him. It could be an it.
Oh, that's very true. It's very difficult to tell. Maybe if we get closer, we'll be able to ask him or them. This water is so crazy, isn't it? And she skips down to the water's edge and peers into the lake. And it's hard not to feel a mixed feeling of kind of anticipation about this figure, but also slightly calmed by this young faun girl who seems very relaxed in this odd situation.
Just for clarification, what is Kane wearing in this stream?
He is wearing his normal outfit, his normal armor.
It is very difficult to swim in normal water using chainmail, let alone what could be rather frigid. I don't much fancy my chances should I try to enter that lake and swim such a distance in metal.
And she looks around at you and she sort of looks back over at the figure and she says, "Well, you know what? This is your dream. You can do whatever you like in the dream. You know, you have control of these things sometimes. So perhaps you can get across there. Maybe you could make a boat, or maybe you could fly, or something like this. Or maybe you just want shouting loud enough." And she turns around and starts waving over at the figure and saying, "Hello over there! Hello! Do you want to come and say hello to us?" And as you look across the lake and look at the figure, you slowly see it raise an arm, its gauntleted hand. It points directly at you, Kane. And then just as slowly points down towards the lake.
Does it feel like a beckoning motion?
Give me an insight check. Oh, 23. Very nice. You it looks like the figure is giving you a direction or a command on purpose. It feels like it is a a command of such.
I suppose it would be a shame to squander lucidity in a dream. The last few times I've seen that figure, I've had no control over what happened. But seeing as I have this newfound freedom, I suppose I could look around, see if there's a boat or make a raft or something.
And the fawn sort of looks up here and says, "Oh, yeah, that could be a good idea. Maybe we can find a boat on the side, or perhaps we can, maybe we can make our own boat, or it's a dream. Maybe you can just magic one out. Can you do magic?"
I can manipulate magic through my devotion to the deity that I call my master.
Oh, what deity is that?
Argental.
Oh, Argental. Oh, I never heard of him.
If you have, it's not one of the most widely known religions, at least in these lands, it seems. Well,
Is he one of those? Is he one of those boring gods who who doesn't really do anything, and they kind of like you pray to them and you say, "Oh, yeah, please can I have this and please can I have that, and I wish for these good things to happen," and then you pretend that you have done them just because you think that they should have done those things, and you're reading into everything, or do they actually do stuff?
I guess when she says that, Kane, he has a bit of a smirk. Yes, not everyone is inclined to devote themselves to a higher being. I understand, but I can assure you, he uses me as his avatar on this plane, and with that, Kane will cast light, the cantrip.
Yep.
Perhaps in an attempt to give some proof.
Okay. So you make the motion to cast the light, and nothing happens. Are you waving at me? I'm here. It's okay. Hello. I can see you. What are you trying to do?
I was attempting to invoke my connection to Argental, but it seems that dreams are not part of his domain.
Oh, that's so sad. It's so sad. I would be embarrassed too if my god had taken away my powers because I had been bad. That would be really bad. What did you do? Maybe this is a dream to tell you that you should be doing something else. Maybe it's like a vision instead of a dream. I've not been in so many visions before. I've been in people's dreams, but not visions. So, do you think that the knight over there is he someone that your god Argivosti guy that had sent? Do you think he's here to tell you off? Is that why he's over there? Is he saying that you should stay here on this part and he's on the island with all the good people and then you're over here because you're not allowed to be on there anymore?
Perhaps it is a vision. He looks at her very sternly and says, "Unfortunately, as of late, my dreams have often been disappointing. This is part of the course." Well, if Argental is displeased with me, I would prefer to know the reason why. Perhaps I will go discuss with this knight, but it seems that I can't use any of my abilities other than what I can do with my own arm. I suppose I'll look around. If there isn't a raft, I'll construct one. I hope that the knight across the way is patient.
Oh, I'm sure he will be. I mean, if you want to go over there and say hello to him, ask him what's going on. I mean, I would do that. If I was me and I had annoyed someone and I thought that I was in trouble, I'd go and ask them. And even if it wasn't me that had done it, if I thought that I was in trouble because somebody else had done something and then I was getting the blame for it, I'd want to say, well, it wasn't me. I didn't do this. So maybe if we find a boat or something, we could... I mean, it doesn't look too deep, the water. Maybe we can just walk across.
Can I roll a perception or an investigation or some such to test the deepness of the lake? I know it appears deep.
Yeah, you can certainly do. Yeah, if you want to go up to the edge of the lake and then you can investigate and see what you think. 14. Yeah. So when you crouch down by the lake, similar to where this the fawn character was, and I don't know. Do you remember what her name was?
I'll be honest with you. I don't think Kane cares.
Cool. Okay. So the fawn girl, where she was kneeling down, you kneel down there as well, and you look out of the lake and say it's almost like a mirror. It's very, very difficult to tell, essentially, what the how deep that water is. It reflects the twilighted sky almost identically, and at certain angles, if you look at it, it's almost difficult to tell if you're upside down or the right way up. It's very difficult because it's almost like a perfect mirror. But you put your hand out towards the water, and as you do so, the water itself, it sort of shimmers for a second. There is like a sort of almost a little ripple just from your hand being near it. And as you sort of tap the water itself, it seems to resist your pressure, almost as if it's sort of solid.
Well, this is certainly peculiar, but convenient too. Perhaps it's the doing of the stranger.
I've never seen the water do this before. That's crazy.
Well, I suppose there's only one direction to go, isn't there?
I guess so. Good luck.
Are you staying here?
Oh no, I'll come with you, but I just want to see if you make it first.
That's clever of you. Okay, well, I suppose if I go in wearing my armor, it won't be a dream that lasts very long, at least.
Oh no, but don't worry, I'll be fine. I'll just leave then, and I'm sure, as you know, in the Feywild, dreams aren't quite the same, probably as you're used to being immortal. But I don't think it'll have any repercussions or any issues in the Feywild where we are now. I'm sure that'll be perfectly fine. And if it isn't, I'm sure you have friends who can help you out. It's all good. Don't worry about me. I will be perfectly safe.
Okay, and with that, Kane's going to, I guess, put his first foot on the surface of the water.
Okay, and so your foot touches the surface. Your arm foot, gingerly you put it down, expecting to just go through the surface as you normally would in water. But as with your hand, the lake resists your weight, not with violent splashes, but with the same sort of stillness almost that dominates the rest of this lake. And you find yourself able to put pressure down and slowly be able to walk gingerly, step by step, out onto the water. Little tiny ripples where your feet land, but almost immediately becoming still again. There's a certain feeling of, it's strange, each step you feel both heavy and weightless at the same moment, as if perfectly balanced.
I see what you did there. I will tentatively make my way towards the island, almost bracing myself for this to stop working at any moment.
Perfect. And so as you step out there, you hear from behind you the fawn girl saying, "Oh wow, you look really good. You like magic." And she claps her hands together in joy, watching you walk across. Can you give me a perception check, please? 5. Cool. As you walk, the figure that you are looking at remains unmoving, just waiting for your approach. And after a couple of moments, you look back behind you and you see the fawn girl just walking across and tiptoeing, following behind you across the water. After a couple of minutes of walking across there, or maybe slightly more than that, I said it was a reasonable distance, you eventually make it to the island. And when you finally reach it, the armored figure standing on the shore of this island lowers its hand and looks down upon you. Though it speaks no words, its presence fills your mind with clarity, a sense of purpose. Hello, Mr. Trollman, how are you? Do you want to talk to us? You know that it's quite rude to point and not say hi.
Please, allow him a moment to communicate whether or not he wishes to converse with us.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to speak out of turn. I'll stay quiet in here. It's your dream. I'm just here for the ride. The figure doesn't seem to react to her at all.
I have seen you before. You are no stranger to my dreams. Are you another avatar of Argentol?
Standing there in front of you, the silver armor of this figure seems to glimmer at the name Argentol as you say it. And although it still says nothing, the arms of this knight reach forward and point down towards its feet. And though you hadn't noticed it previously, possibly because of the shadow of this creature, you notice at the feet of this figure there is a large scale of balance.
Of course. Yes, it makes sense that you would visit me in my dreams. I feel remiss that I had not made the connection before. That my God would send someone to me in my subconscious to converse with me, tell me what it is that he needs from me. Please, may I kneel in prayer?
The figure does not speak and does not move. It purely sits and points down towards these scales.
In that case, sensing that there isn't any dismissiveness to his request, he's not being told no. He'll drop down to one knee as he normally does when praying, his hand on the floor steadying himself, his other hand leant on his knee in a position of fealty, of sort of swearing allegiance. He will drop his head in front of the scales and say to not just the scales but to the figure as well, I am here, my lord. What is it that you need of me? What can I do for you?
There's silence for several minutes. And as you look down, kneeling in front of this statue, speaking out, trying to communicate with your god, asking for clarification of what is intended, you hear just in front of you, in the direction of the scales, a tapping noise.
Okay, I will look up.
And you look up and you see the Thorn Girl poking and prodding at this scales. And she's like, I think this is broken. It's not kind of working properly.
Has the large figure reacted to any of this at all?
No. He's like, I'm sure this has to go up here. Up here. I'm going South African for some reason. this bit has to go up here, and I don't know about this bit here as well. Do you know anything how to fix this? This is kind of like strange. I was going, oh, you know what it is? It looks like someone has broken their toy, and not to worry, Mr. Big Man. My sisters and I can make you a new one. It's perfect, all right. Maybe that is why you're here. Maybe he wants to buy. He wants you to buy him a new toy from my stall. I'm sure we could probably make one next time we see you.
Can I do some kind of check on the scales to see if what she's saying is true?
Just give me a perception check.
You know, at the end of the day, even though she might be kind of butting in on a pivotal moment, Kane is the one that agreed for her to be here.
Yeah.
It would be very rude of him to turn around and be like, "You're ruining this." It's like he invited her.
Exactly. Oh, 21, very nice. Okay. Yeah, you look up and you look towards the scales, and you saw it before, but you're now taking a little bit more notice, looking exactly at what she's talking about. And unlike the traditional depiction of the scales that you're used to with your god iconography, these scales are broken. One side hangs much lower than the other, and the chain that connects the higher plate is snapped, causing the imbalance to essentially be permanent unless and unrepairable by natural means. Beneath the low side, this ground is scorched and cracked, and though it has borne the weight of as if it's borne the weight of a great burden for far too long. And as you look towards the broken scales, it seems to pulse with a faint, eerie violet light that begins to cast long shadows from the scales across the island, like a hand stretching out, covering it in darkness.
Well, that ain't good. Kane will realize that though he really, if anything, just wishes to communicate with, his master in this moment. It seems that more pressing matters are at hand. The scales are broken. He'll stand up and look to the tall figure once again. Even more than concern than usual manifests itself on his brow line.
Can he sound more?
Apparently, yeah. He's approaching like Gordon Ramsay forehead territory. The amount of concern he turns to this tall figure. What do these scales represent? If you yourself are a Bargental, this is not balance. This is not two sides with equal power. There is something wrong here. What is it that you're trying to communicate to me?
The knight figure stands again, its arms by its side, and it slowly raises one arm again towards the center of the aisle.
The dark shadow that's casting on the scales, does it look like it is coming from a physical object in this dream, or is it more of a sort of a manifestation?
So the scales itself is what is glowing, is giving off this eerie glow, and the glow from it is causing a shadow to be cast. So I suppose if the shadow is being cast from the scales itself, so I guess the light is sort of from one side of it, but it's basically the scales. The shadow is turning into this hand that is grasping across the island to the center of it.
So am I currently in the center?
You're on the beach of this island. So these scales are the figure, the knight, and this scales are kind of like on the beach, I suppose, of this island, and it's reaching out, and it basically from where you're looking, the hand grows out, this shadow grows out, and this clasping hand seems to cover the island, as if this whatever this shadow or the burnt section of the described on the ground of the scales, it's kind of reaching out and has a grasp on this island.
If you'll excuse me, I must understand what is affecting these scales. This is desecration of a holy relic, and dream or not, I cannot abide by something that looks ill upon my lord. I must see what is manifesting this shadow. What has damaged these scales to a point where only masterful repair could bring them back to what they once were? I must see. And with that, if there's no reaction from the knight, Kane will move past him and attempt to go further into the island.
The knight gives you no response to the words that you say, but as you proceed towards the center of the island, as you walk further in, following this shadow, you notice that wherever this shadow is, it is just pitch darkness. You go on to this island to where the center is, and it's not a particularly big island, but as you walk into this darkness, there seems to be nothing but the shadows and the darkness. The trees and the bushes that you saw on the island as you were going here, now is just pitted darkness. And as you turn from walking into the center of it, it's almost like around you darkness is, and there's just this sort of doorway of light where you walk through, and you look back and you can see the beach area with this knight figure and the fawn girl just standing there as you are now surrounded by complete darkness.
I'll turn to the fawn girl and lift a hand to try and stay her from coming into the shadow. Dream visitor, I am not convinced that this area is safe. I know that this is, like you had said, perhaps a vision, but I do not know that it is a pleasant one, and I would prefer you not come to harm in something that was meant for me.
And she looks towards you into the darkness, and she says, okay, well, I wasn't going to follow you anyway, but you know what? I kind of like it here. It's kind of nice. I like the little island, and you know, it was fun to be here with you and everything as well. But yeah, it makes me wonder what you'll do when you come here for real. You know, in this in the island. But you take all the time you need. I'll stay here with the big guy, and we'll talk about designs for his new toy and how we can fix it up for him.
Kane's eyebrows raise rapidly at the mention of him coming here, not in a dream. He stutters. He almost seems flustered, rare as that is for Kane. What do Do you know this place? This place is real?
Oh yes, it's I don't know what the island's called, but it looks very similar to Lake Longmere. It's it's sort of north from here, I guess, from where you are currently in Langshorn. So yeah, just not too far away, and it's a little island in the middle. It reminds me of it. I think this is probably the same place. But maybe you can go there in the real and see if it's the same. Maybe it's the same.
I don't understand. I thought that my arrival in this place was trivial, a mistake, a carnival trick. Are you? No. Are you suggesting it was Argenthal's plan for me to be here? He has purpose for me in the Feywild?
The fawn looks at you. Her eyes and her features more serious than you'd seen previously. And she looks directly at you and says, "Yes, Cain. You have been brought here for a reason. You have been brought here to this island to tell them of the wonderful toys I make. And you must spread the good word. And then when you wake up, you will come here and sell them for me." But I don't know about your god. Perhaps he's just being tricky. Some gods are like that. Sometimes they tell you things, or they be really cryptic and won't tell you what the answer is. And you're like, well, if you don't tell me what you want, how am I supposed to know what you're supposed to be doing? Like this guy, like he doesn't say anything. How are we supposed to know what this means? What do these scales mean? And she just kicks the scales. This could be anything. This could be like he's just broken it and he wants you to fix it, or it's just weird. It's just a dream. I don't know. Anyway, I think our time's up. It looks like you're probably going to wake up now, so I will see you sometime. Looks like I don't know. Sometime maybe in the future we can do this again. And it was very nice for you to let me come here and experience this with you. I mean, it's not one of the best dreams I've ever had, to be honest, but it's okay. It's pretty good. But if you want to dream share again, maybe we can have some more fun. Maybe we can dream about something a little bit more interesting than a boring old lake. But okay. Well, see you soon, I suppose. I'll be watching. And as she says that, your vision goes all dark. You get encompassed by the darkness that you're in, and you bolt upright in your bed, awake.
If could Kane possibly stutter out half a sentence?
Sure.
As he's waking up, when she says that it's not the best dream, he kind of says, "I told you before you came here that it was going to be shh," and then he wakes up.
And you wake, your head pounding, and a somewhat confused sense of both purpose and danger as you realize that your armor is missing.
Oh. Where am I? Who am I? Where's my armor?
And while that was all happening, we'll jump back to Moira now, who's just wandered in to see Giggles happily wagging his tail as he sees Moira come round the corner, and Tisfan just finishing off polishing this armor.
Good morning, Giggles. Yes. And she just kind of starts looking around like, hey. Tea. Tea is good.
I think Tiswan was actually in prayer at this point.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. Yes, you were still in prayer at that point.
And Moira is kind of just... At first, she's just kind of awkwardly just standing there. And then coming to terms with that Tisvin is still in prayer and not coming back yet. I guess she's just gonna go to the kitchen and get herself tea.
Yeah, you wait for Tisvin to kind of respond or something for a little bit when you say about tea, but he's deep in his concentration. So you wander that way. As you move into the kitchen, Giggles, wagging his tail, follows you, keeping very close to you as you head into the kitchen.
He really likes mice.
Did you really? Oh my goodness, Giggles.
And he follows you in as you like start looking in little cupboards for tea bags or look on the counter and stuff. And he just happily wags his tail. He sort of nuzzles up against you when you like lean down a little bit more and try and look in the cupboards. And he generally, when you open a cupboard, he'll kind of put his head into it and just be in the way. And you kind of push him back and like, I'm trying to get in this cupboard. And you sort of like fighting him off a little bit, trying to get in there as he's being very nosy.
Oh my goodness, Giggles, not this. No, this is not your stuff. It's not your stuff in these cabinets. Okay. Here, have some scratches, and then Moira's just gonna scratch on the I guess cheeks, like, just hold well. You, however she can, just hold his face and then screeches.
You give him like good scritches on that and around the ear and the face, and he responds by licking you on the side of the face.
Okay, sure, okay.
You're about eye level with him essentially, so it's he doesn't have to stretch or it's very difficult for you to avoid because you can only move sort of left and right, but it's still at his eye line, so you're not really able to pull yourself away too far. He can reach you. So you have a little bit of battle of wills and scritches and stuff. And after a few more moments, you will hear from down the corridor the not too heavy but footfalls of Johan as he walks down the corridor and sees you and Tisvin in the kitchen / dining area.
When he sees Moira has just given up, and Giggles is still licking her face.
Good morning, Moira. I see you are well rested, and your friend Giggles here is. You are having a good morning.
Morning. I was intending to get some tea, and then this happened.
Let me help you there. And he walks past, and he gives Giggles a good scratch on the head as he's walking past, and he leans up to a cupboard and he starts taking out some small containers with tea leaves and a teapot and various things to start making some tea for you. I hope you don't mind. This is our own special blend of tea leaves. I don't know if you've had much tea here in the Feywild yet, but it has a slightly different taste each time. But it should be palatable to you. If the dog is getting too much, I can put him outside if you like.
Oh no, it's fine. Any tea is good. Any tea is good.
Excellent. And I presume you slept well here? Is the bed you were liking?
Yes, fairly well, considering things. Had some dreams that I cannot remember, but they were there. Not sure how to make of it. Dreams are weird.
They can be that way, yes. I do not remember too many of my dreams, but there may be reasons for that.
And Mark just kind of coughs, just a little, like. Yep.
Is anybody else awake? Have you seen anyone else this morning wandering around, or?
Tisvin seems to be in prayer.
Yes, I see. Well, that was good. I thought I heard voices out here earlier, and it was getting to be morning, so I thought I would get out of bed. Well, here we are. And he waits as the tea is brewing. I can't remember the last time I had a good cup of tea.
Oh, you poor thing. We must get you a good, fresh cup of tea. Hot. Freshly brewed.
Yes. It will not be quite the same, but I'm sure it will satisfy for now. When the rest of your friends are awake, perhaps we will discuss how we should move forward. We have much to talk about.
Yes, indeed. Much concerning things.
At this point, Tisvan would come out of prayer. He would grab up Kane's armor and start walking toward his room to put it back. He just says a quiet good morning to both of them as he's walking by.
I guess just about then, Galatea sort of shuffles out of her own room. All dressed, cloak on, and hair tied up in a ponytail. And it's sort of still swishing around, but not as wildly as the day before.
And, Amoros, are you awake yet, or are you still sleeping?
I would probably say that Amos is emerging from his room roughly about the same time as Kane would.
So I guess, Tisfin, if you go back to Kane's room, you'll find that Kane is awake now.
Good morning, Kane.
Kane gives you the silent treatment. Have we lost Kane again?
Or Kane again.
Oh no.
He's disappeared again.
No, he's
Where is
still,
our boy?
he's
Perhaps
still in the hall, but
perhaps he was still slightly asleep when you went back in.
He just rolled over.
So Amoros, you wake up.
And
You come out thinking it'll be about the time that Kane wakes up, but it's not. It's slightly before.
apparently, yeah. Well, I getting dressed and just getting early, doing the bed and all that stuff, and then Ambrose would just head out and get to the kitchen for a cup of tea. It's pretty much the start of the day. And well, he will greet the others as he sees them. And also actually point out that Galatea looks pretty nice in a ponytail.
Thank you. Thanks.
So yeah, you come out and you meet. Sorry, go on.
You look nice too. Is that tea? I feel like I can smell tea.
I was
Yeah,
about to ask the same.
yeah. You see that Johan has just started. Just finished brewing the tea, and he's just getting out some cups to. And he sees you and grabs some more as well. Yes, yes, there is tea. Yes, please. And he puts the cups out in front and a big pot, and he starts pouring out. I hope you all slept well.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice having a comfy bed to sleep on.
I don't think I've slept that well in a long time.
Johan smiles, and then he looks back at Amros. That is good to hear. Must be some time since you've had a good rest. It is very important.
How did you sleep tonight?
I have slept. I slept well. I have. I think better than I have for some time.
Galatea goes over and gets very busy with making tea, just finding stuff, plates, cups. What do you need for tea?
He's already got the tea, the cups and the tea already there on the table. He's pouring it.
Galatea puts it all back again.
Thank
Moira
you.
And
Thank
is
you
keep
again,
ourselves
Tia.
distracted.
Moira is already like sitting down with her own cup of tea, just looking, watching this like, huh? Okay.
Kane, as you wake, you after a moment or two, your door opens and you see Tisfan arrive with your armor.
Oh, thank you. That liquor that the host gave us, it packed more of a punch than I seem to be used to. My head feels like it's been used for sparring practice.
It looked like it with how you and the others were acting before we went to bed. But I've cleaned up your armor a bit. That's why I have it.
Oh, thank you. I tried to keep it in the best shape I could myself. I'm no blacksmith. You see,
neither am I. And from what I saw, you've kept it in tip-top shape. There wasn't much needed doing, just a link here or there.
it's normally something that's Libra would keep herself busy with. She was the head of the church back in Daggerford. She was a dwarf, so pretty handy with a hammer and an anvil, as you can imagine.
Yeah, I have to say, I've lived a rather insular life in, well, the settlement I come from. Never really met much of the other races there. Never really traveled.
Well, I can vouch for the dwarves, and I can vouch for half orcs. That's about the extent of my interaction. Your own race is alien to me, although if you're an example of them, I would say that they're very friendly people.
We can be. We usually keep to our own settlements. Makes life a bit more peaceful that way, usually.
I find that when you leave Daggerford, the same could be said of most races, honestly. It seems that keeping to yourself is the best way to ensure that you don't attract any trouble. But either way, thank you, Tisvin, for keeping hold of my armor. It's important to me. It's a little piece of my old life, seeing as we're probably here for the foreseeable future.
I understand. It's the same for me with mine. And it's something I enjoy doing, since I have a bit more time in the day than most other people.
I usually like to rise early and get on with the usual church goings on, but it would seem that Feywild drink is very good at keeping a man in bed.
Apparently so. I wouldn't know since I abstained from drinking.
I can't say that I blame you. It brings out everyone's less reserved side.
Cough, cough.
Well, I don't blame you. That's honestly, if Bula had her way, I wouldn't be surprised if I myself abstained from drinking. It's probably best that she doesn't hear about what happened yesterday. I don't
My
want her
lips are
worrying.
sealed.
I don't like to keep secrets from her, but she has enough playing on her mind right now. The last thing I need is her worrying about me.
As Kane mentions the name Bula, Tisvin, as soon as you entered, you realized there was something scrawled on Kane's forehead, but you weren't quite sure what it said. And as soon as he says the word Bula, you're like, it's Bula. That's what's written there.
Question, since I wasn't here last session,
Yes.
would I have seen them scribble things on Kane?
Possibly, yeah. You probably saw them doing it. Whether you took notice of what they'd written on there, I don't know. But you may have seen them both doing it because they were you out of everyone were the one that wasn't drinking. So
Okay. A tip before you come out and join everyone else: have a look in the mirror. Just a small tip.
I haven't seen anywhere in this house that has a mirror. Am I injured?
No. Let's just say there were some drunken shenanigans going on.
Kane just looks wildly confused. Like he has no idea. It's probably a good idea for me to find a river or a pond or some such nearby if I can. It's been a while since we arrived, and I haven't actually had a chance to wash myself yet. I'm feeling quite self-conscious after last night. I think it would be good to clean myself.
Can I just say, I was thinking about this like, yesterday, because in my other campaign, my character is obsessed with just washing, and it is a daily thing. And here, we haven't done it once. None of us.
I think we've all been
Amos
too.
also likes to keep himself clean, so it just
We've
you
all
seen a
been
bathhouse
too
or anything like that?
scared. I think we've
Yeah.
all just been too anxious to like trust a body of water, but we're kind of getting over it.
I mean, fair argument.
I mean, you have had a mud/clay bath, I guess, most of you.
Yay. It was
Yeah, that
raining.
didn't really go that well, did it?
Perhaps now would be a good time for me to, put my chainmail back on, Tisvin, and I'll meet you downstairs. Maybe I can make it up to everyone for my inappropriateness last night and figure out breakfast for those of you that are hungry.
Of course. Tisvan will place Kane's chainmail at the foot of his bed. Turn towards the door and just see you downstairs. Walk out, close the door.
And as you leave, Tisvan, you realise that there actually is no downstairs. You're all on the same floor.
I thought we were.
Low intelligence.
It's like a bungalow. So
Tisvan has low intelligence, okay?
see you downstairs,
Does
and then
he
you
walk
do
into the
you do the
the
sort of
wine
like
cellar?
yeah, you do the pretend walking down the stairs. Okay, see you downstairs.
Yep.
As you go past the doorway.
Perhaps Kane is still just a little bit drunk.
Yeah.
Guys.
Perfect. All right. Well, Tisvan, you rejoin. Then I suppose that the rest of the group, while Kane takes the laborious task of reattaching all his armor pieces. But yeah, you were all. Sorry, go on.
When Tisvan joins the others, he will slightly side-eye Galatea. Not much, not very noticeably, but he will side-eye Galatea.
Can I see if I notice? 'Cause
Sure,
I
yeah.
don't know if I will.
Yeah, give me a perception roll to see if you notice bombastic side eye. $14. Do you want to give me? Are you doing this obviously, Tisvan, or are you trying to side eye but trying to keep it quiet, like try and do it without her noticing?
Just a quick one. So yeah, I would say kind of without her noticing.
Okay, well give me a stealth roll then. We'll see who's got the better roll.
Technically, since I'm wearing my armor, I have disadvantage on stealth, but I don't know if it would count here.
I'll let you roll just flat with this because it's only your face, not you're actually walking around. Oh, a nat 20, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. He's you don't notice it. You look up for a moment, Galatea. As you have with all of them, you're probably just self-conscious, thinking like, does anybody else know? And then you look look up to Tisford. He seems to walk into the room without not noticing you, so you're pretty safe.
Yes. Do they know? There are so many things happening right now. But it all fits.
That's it. But
Gotta get one that's 20 every fucking
exactly. It's going to be one in there somewhere, and you used it on a sly glance. But yeah, you all eventually are joined by Kane, unless there's anything else you want to do, Kane. And at this point, I would imagine that Sahana has probably got dressed and rejoined you all as well. So we'll say that you all are able to have some tea. Johan and Sahana probably put on a little bit of breakfast for you. They probably have some meats and some bread and cheese and things in the house that they can put together. A simple meal for you in the morning.
Question.
Oh,
Sorry.
Does Kane show up with the text on his face?
So, Kane is... I don't know. I was thinking about maybe praying.
Okay.
Before I come downstairs, but I think I'm going to wait. But I don't. I think he wants to wash. I'm going to assume that there isn't like washing facilities in this bungalow before I come through to the front room.
There's no ensuite in this room. But there well, you may or may not know that there is like a kitchen that has a sink, but there isn't anything immediate in your room.
Oh shit! They have running water here. This place is great. Why are we trying to leave?
I don't know.
Kane would, in that case, I suppose he would heed Tisman's words. He'd there'd be like a 3-second pause where he's like, what happened? Why am I being told to look in a mirror? And he'd maybe like rub his hand against his face just to see like what happens, like if there's like residue on his fingers.
Yeah, I mean, if you rub your forehead, then yeah, your fingers will be covered in ash, and you'll probably smear the wording that was on your forehead.
Okay, that is perfect. Kane bursts into the front room. Is everyone already drinking tea?
If everyone is currently where they are, yeah, everyone's in there either drinking tea or preparing breakfast. Yeah.
Kane bursts into the front room
after walking down the stairs.
After walking down 3 flights of stairs, Kane bursts into the room, and he yells at Tisford, My God, why did you not tell me that I fought a fire last night? I'm covered in soot and charcoal.
Moira, upon seeing Kane coming in, just kind of sputters and just spills just a little bit of tea on her face.
Can I roll a performance to see if I can keep a poker face?
Sure. 15, yeah, that's pretty good.
15.
Yeah,
I would say Ambrose is doing a pretty decent job at not having it all over the face that he's freaking laughing his ass off inside.
You can contest that with an insight if you want to. If you're looking around at looking for a culprit, or if you're convinced that you fought a fire, then maybe you're not looking around.
Kane is looking directly at Tisman because
he
had the opportunity to make Kane aware of it.
Tisman will pointedly look towards Moira and Amaros before telling Kane, you did not fight anything last night.
Moira very loudly sipping on tea, like.
As I said, there were some drunken shenanigans. You were not attacked, you were not in a fight, but others did something to you, yes. If said people want to fess up, that's up to them.
I do not understand. Did I fall and trip into the fireplace?
Nope. As I said, you did nothing, others did something.
I am very confused. What was the purpose of putting soot on my face?
It's not so much the soot itself, it's more what it says. Galatea takes another sip and tries to keep it in her mouth.
Were you writing arcane runes upon my head? Did you believe me to be under some kind of curse while I was drunk?
Galatea does not keep the tea in her mouth.
I'm utterly confused. I do not understand the purpose of these actions.
For the record, I took a sip of tea myself, and I failed to keep that in my mouth.
That's just tea everywhere.
It's just 3 people dribbling tea currently. Sahana comes up to you, Kane, and sort of looks at your face, and she brings with her a damp cloth of some kind and offers it to you.
Oh, it's very kind of you. I do not wish to impose on you. I could always go to whatever source of water you have nearby and clean myself that way. I do not wish to dirty your implements.
Oh, a bath.
She looks confused and then sort of just takes the cloth and starts wiping a little bit on your forehead and wiping it off and turning it around. And she just, if she could make a noise, she would tut and just shake her head while cleaning your face.
Kane,
like a mother.
Can Kane make some kind of check to keep his composure?
Of course, yeah. If you want to try and trying to hide any of your composure, or if you're trying to keep yourself, I guess, maybe performance, I guess. No, you're very good this morning. 4, it's not going to do it.
Kane turns a bright shade of crimson as she starts to like wipe his forehead with the cloth. Who is the closest person to me besides her?
Well, I would say that Johan is probably sort of in the center behind the table at the moment because he poured the tea and is like getting some like breakfast stuff ready. So it's up to the other people up in the group who is there. So Hannah is basically now just like wiping your face with this cloth, a bit like a mother wiping a child's face who's got stuff around there and they don't really realize it. Possibly she's used to doing this with her brother after he collapses after having so much to drink in the evenings. But she does it with some sort of authority, sort of holding you and just wiping your face, just trying to get the muck off of you.
Maybe because he knows he's been made. I'm sure the others have a reaction to this happening that he can see. especially the three culprits who are currently spraying their tea across this poor man's lounge.
Three.
You've been implicated too as well now.
Hey, you're not, Tisman is over here drinking his tea like a gentleman. You're spraying it across the room. For all Kane knows, you were part of this.
Excuse me, I'm the player. Did spill my tea, not Amaros. I'm safe.
But Kane looks to all of you after this sort of this cleaning of his face by Zahana, and he kind of says through gritted teeth, "None of you are to tell Bula that another woman has bathed me."
This one will just
This-
smile behind his teacup.
Moira has been dabbing her face with a napkin and just kind of giggles behind the napkin.
Gatia just sort of covers one arm around, over her face and just giggling and blushing a little bit as well.
Can I just say, in this moment, Kane feels more and more like the fantasy version of a Klingon. But he just has no idea what is going on. It's great. Kane is still this bright shade of crimson, and he just very quietly and politely thanks Zahana for cleaning his face. And he tries to hide his embarrassment by graciously accepting the tea and drinking it, and then asking if they want any help with do they need more food for breakfast? Do they need the plates? They eat the sort of whatever they eat on wooden bowls or plates or etc. Do they need them taken out of the room? He's trying to keep himself busy because he feels more than a little embarrassed by Zahana cleaning him.
Moira, upon finishing her cup of tea, kind of leaves the table or wherever they are, and says, "Well, now that that's done, time for my own morning ritual." And then upon passing Kane, she just she just says, "I don't know. The hearts looked very good on you," and then just goes outside.
Kane will choose to pretend that didn't happen.
Oh,
I think that he is still far too confused and embarrassed to discuss it further. However, there is something that he would like to discuss with Johan. I forget how it's pronounced. Yeah. He would like to discuss something with him. It doesn't have to be in private, but it's not something that he'd want to shout across a breakfast table.
I think after Sahana has cleaned your face, she will go back to the sink and help her brother with preparing what little breakfast they have.
Okay, so would that be is the sink a good place for sort of Kane to go and talk to him, or is he elsewhere?
Sorry, say that again.
Is the sink is that kind of where he's residing? Is he helping his sister, or is he
So
Is he elsewhere?
in this little area, Johan is basically there's a table, like a square table in the middle. That he's had the teacups and tea that he's been making, and then there's a sort of a sink with a bench there where he's preparing some meats and cheese and just laying some food out, just some basic stuff. While his sister is just washing that flannel that she just used to wash your face in the sink.
Oh, okay. If he hasn't had breakfast yet, I don't want to talk to him until he's got his first meal of the day.
He's laying it out for everyone, so it's open. It's a bit like of a buffet of breakfast buffet.
Okay. All right. Well, in that case, I suppose there's no time like the present. Kane's true neutral. I have to stop making him care about people's feelings. He'll turn around to Johan and just say, in the not a nonchalant tone because it's still a serious subject, but not wanting to sound sad.
Mm.
He will say to him, "Listen, Johan, I can't help but notice that you have yet to seek a funeral for your father. Is it because of the Chernobyl?"
Johan will look towards you, and he was looking a bit more upbeat than usual. But when you mention about his father, he becomes more serious and says, turns towards his sister and says, "It was partly because of this, and partly because I have not been able to find time to bury him." Yeah. Unfortunately, my mind has been elsewhere of recent, and I have not had the time to do this. But my sister and I would like to bury him soon and perform rites.
I understand that helping your sister is our utmost priority right now, especially after the overwhelming amount of hospitality that you have shown all of us. But I had something of a communion with my god last night. And though it was somewhat one-sided, it did make me realize that you are, to my knowledge, in the presence of several people who could quite easily perform rites for your father and put him to rest, depending on if you are comfortable with them invoking the name of the deity that they swear fealty to. Perhaps when we have put to rest the situation with your sister and found a solution, we could assist in helping your father find his final resting place and be at peace. And you can go back to having a house that does not feel as though the shadow of someone's passing hangs heavy within it.
I think Sahana comes up behind her brother and puts her hand gently on his shoulder, just giving him a little squeeze. And he nods to her and he turns back to you and says, "We would be honored if you would be able to perform rites for our father in the name of any deity that you feel appropriate. However, I would like to, as you said, make sure that the town is safe before we do this. The conflict with the Dryad worries me, and if they have threatened the town, or the people of the town as well, I would like to know that this place is safe before I commit my father's body to the town's area. We have had you have already met, Crimini has come and put a spell of sorts on my father, to a gentle repose to stop him from decaying. It's a normal process until such a time as we were ready to bury him. Now that the Chernobog has been destroyed, though as you said, there are more of these creatures around, my fear, I think, our fear was that whatever drew it to him may not let him rest. He was buried in the ground. Perhaps I will take up on your offer once we have found a solution to this problem.
It seems that we have many loose ends to tie. Lots of unfortunate conflicts seem to brew in your town. But rest assured that we are trying everything that we can within our limited power to try and figure out how we can bring some sense of normalcy back to you. Even though we are still somewhat strangers to this place, I have to say that though outside of the confines of the town, there does seem to be a great amount of danger. What I have seen since I arrived here is nothing but kindness and, for lack of repeating the same term, hospitality from you and your sister and some of the other residents here. It's a shame that these soldiers have descended upon what seems like a fine settlement, let alone the Chernobog. It seems to me that they are the true danger here. The Dryad is a threat too, but the Dryad does not dwell within the confines of your town. The Chernobog does not dwell within the confines of your town, but these Aarakocra, or Owlin rather, they seem to have already wiggled their way in to the inner workings of somewhere that by all rights should be led by you.
Well, perhaps this is not so much of a problem. The Scarlet Guard was here to help protect the town from the Chernobog. If that has been dealt with, then they really have no need to be here anymore. Perhaps it is time that I ask them to leave.
I worry that they will find another reason to remain. How sure are you that their reason for being here was nothing more than an excuse for surveillance? I speak from experience. The best way to keep an eye on the goings on somewhere is to stir up fear and use that to your advantage. It was many years ago now, but before I found the influence of my god, Argental, I was part of a group that weaponized fear, that weaponized a promise of protection.
We'll come with. Galatea sort of stands up from the table. I imagine that she's been sitting and just sipping her tea, pretending that she wasn't listening, even though she was. It was not very far away. And she was sort of smiling at the mention of hospitality earlier, and now stands up next to Kane and says, we'll come with you when you ask them to leave. We'll show force.
I appreciate that, Galatea. I hope that they will honor their agreement and move on. They know that them being here has not been easy, and that although my father requested their help, since his passing they have not made the lives of others easy here. But I hope that the Scarwood Guard, the royal guard of the princess, even in her current situation, I would hope that they would honor the agreement that was made and leave peacefully. But if they will not, then I would gladly have you at my back.
Galatea nods and looks to King.
Perhaps enough yammering has been done for one day.
Well, you say that, but we're not all here. We still haven't talked about. I have so many things. Can we have a meeting of some sort?
Please do not take offense to my words, Galatea. It was not you that I referred to. It was myself. I feel like, and he looks down. A look of like confliction on his face, dancing around his brow. I feel as though I have not been doing enough. There are so many loose ends around this town that I have yet to draw to a satisfactory conclusion. At heart, I am a problem solver, and I feel as though I have been neglecting that side of me through uneasiness with this place. The Feywild, it is new and scary and alien to me, but I am still me. And back in Daggerford, I solved problems. I brought peace and balance to those who came to me seeking it. And he turns to Johan. And you, I would imagine, seek peace. And that is what I want to bring to this town. If it is the last thing that I do here in the Feywild, with all its dangers, then I would like to help you find peace.
I believe that our purposes are aligned. I wish nothing more than peace for my village before the to finish what my father started, to regain what we have lost. And he takes his sister's hand. I would do anything for my sister. I would do anything for this town. I find myself at the crossroads and I do not know which way to go first. You are travelers. You have come to this place and you have helped us so much already. I would be grateful of any help, any assistance you can provide us, whether it is here or whether it is helping my sister. I cannot decide where to go. I cannot decide where I am best situated to be. I would like nothing more than to take my sister to the healer. Her situation does not seem to have gotten any worse, and I hope that it does not, but I fear time may be against us. The conflict with the Dryads worries me, but if you say this is not an immediate threat, then perhaps we can worry about this another day. The Scarwood Guard have been here for some time, and although their presence has been a necessity, it is time for them to move on if the threat has been neutralized. But someone must stay and look after the village, and as I am in all respects the new Burgermeister of this town, I feel I must stay, and at least until the people here are taken care of. I would ask you to decide where, if you wish to help us, I would ask you to help me decide what path to take.
For that, I kind of lean towards we start with the woodworkers and the dryads. Once we have that solved, maybe it'll be easier to tackle the Scoured Guard.
Yeah, can we... Where did Moira go? I don't want her to miss out on this. Tisvin... let's sit and all talk about this.
I'll go see if I can grab Moira, and we'll come back as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Let's actually have a bit of a meeting and get our planning together.
Yeah, out of character, I've been waiting for a good moment to hop in to just say, "Hey, let's get all together and do this," and then everyone's like doing little bits individually, so it's hard to like gather.
Kane is. I think that last night's vision/dream has lit a fire beneath Kane. He really feels like all of these open-ended problems that it feels like each problem has led to a new problem, and he is tired of the compromise. He wants to start closing the book on some of these issues because he doesn't feel like it's right for us to move on to greener pastures until we have helped the people here, because they have been very helpful to us.
I mean, to be fair, the longer we've been in this town, the more issues we've just discovered rather than solving. Like, we solved one issue, we found two more.
It's the Skyrim issue. It's when you pick up the next side quest before you've finished the one you're on.
That's another one, indeed.
But yeah, let's sit and discuss.
Yeah. Just goes out, finds more, brings her back into the kitchen.
If that's okay, Moira.
Moira's just outside doing like some stretches and just drawing circles or whatever, just kind of digging her hands into the soil, just kind of feeling the nature.
Are you a cleric of the god of fitness?
Huh?
Is God.
What are all these stretches that you're doing?
I don't know.
It's mindfulness. Come on, King.
Nature. Take it, breathe it in.
Tisfam picks Moira up by her cape and carries her into the kitchen. Come
So
on, meeting.
Hey, what do you think you're doing?
Meeting. Planning. Now.
No.
Yes.
Fine.
So yeah, Tisfam comes walking into the kitchen with carrying Moira in one hand and plops her down on a chair.
Oh, hi. Sorry.
I heard meeting is happening.
Yeah. I thought it would probably be best that we're all on the same page with what's going on and what we need to do.
Sure.
Galatea pulls out like a little piece of parchment with a bunch of scribbles on it. Do you mind if do you mind if I give some suggestions?
Go ahead.
Okay, so pressing things. We need to get Sohana. And she sort of looks at Moira but doesn't say anything. Just like little grumbles. To a healer as soon as we can. We don't know what the timescale is. Oh, it seems to be all right so far, but I'd rather be early than late. I would very much like to follow the previous party before us as soon as we can as well, since the little vendor said they were worried and I'm worried. And Galatea looks to Tisman. I think we both know someone in that party.
Yes. Yes, we do.
I don't know who else was there. I don't really know people. I don't. Yeah. So those are pressing. That's north. Everything's north. As far as I can tell. So we need to go as soon as we can. But before we can go, there are things that need solving. We need to talk to the Skyward Guard. Johan can do that. We'll back him up. Hopefully the show of strength will make a difference. We need to. I have a little errand that I need to do, but that's not. And she just like makes a little note on the page. I have some suggestions for the dryads. I don't know if it'll work, but you said so. You've been to this the healer in town, Tisvan Amorous, Moira. Do you think they would know how to help heal the dryads? Do you think we could ask?
We could definitely ask. I didn't think of that one myself. That's actually a good question.
I am uncertain if they are a healer per se, but like more of an just a apothecary person.
Oh, okay. Well, can you do that? Can you heal Trace?
Maybe if I was stronger. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. I don't.
I mean, we can ask. It doesn't hurt to ask.
Yeah. Well, so I know that the lumber mill needs to do what it does, but it seems to me they push too far. Knowingly, I still feel like we need to talk to them, but in any case, it's I wouldn't want to go up against the Lady of the Forest myself. So I think it's probably best to make amends as much as possible, and if we can offer to right what was wronged, maybe they won't be as severe in their punishment. That was my thinking, anyway. And she finally sort of pauses and looks around.
Sorry, I was medium. Let's see. The thing for me that I'm still curious about is if all of the woodworkers were aware of that the dryads were angry and that they would have been warned, or if I keep forgetting his name, but the master woodworker, if he actually kept that to himself just for it to be easier to send them in.
I mean, yeah, but whatever the answer is, do you still want to feed him to the dryads? I guess the real question.
Whatever the answer is, I kind of want to at least him to stand before the dryads. If he, sure, we would kind of be throwing him to the lions per the meaning, but this is a mess that technically he has caused, and he's also technically the only one that can mend it.
Okay, but at the moment, I am assuming he doesn't have any tools to mend it other than offering himself, and maybe offering their life instead would be preferable. It's just what I'm thinking.
Just don't know. Like, a life for a life has never really been. I'm freaking stealing this from you, cannot I? The balance of things.
What we need to be prepared for is what will the consequences be if we bring this woodsman to the Dryad and he will not accept any answer other than his death? What are we willing to do if that situation comes to pass? And are we prepared for the havoc that it could wreak? I am not happy with what has been suggested by the creature so far. I feel like a compromise lies within the reach of both parties, but that is assuming that such a creature is willing to see reason, and I am not yet convinced. They are scornful, and they seek revenge, and I understand the way that they feel. We would all feel wrathful if the place we called home was taken over by an outside party and ravaged beyond all recognition. But I am not yet convinced that it was done by the woodsman with malice. Perhaps it was a simple misunderstanding. Perhaps he did not realize the significance that these trees held to the beings that dwelled within them. But I don't know. I feel as though those woods are not welcome to us until we resolve this issue.
Well, what do you suggest? Do you have another idea?
That is the issue in my mind. The issue is, how do we stop a being so powerful compared to us from doing as they please? In their mind, justifiably so. If we do not agree to the terms that they lay out in front of us. It would not sit right with me to take this man out of this town and in good conscience know that we will be leading him to his own slaughter. But I don't know what the Dryad will accept as fair punishment, if not his demands.
Well, all I'm saying is, what caused them harm was harm. So if we undo it, then they might be more amenable.
Do you know of someone that could fix the damage done?
No, that's why I'm asking. Do you?
Nature has never particularly been part of my domain. It overlaps somewhat, but I am a purveyor of values rather than knowledge. I feel like perhaps Moira would be the one to speak to on manners regarding nature and its goings on.
Galatair just looks to Moira.
Mora. Oh,
Sorry.
Mora just kind of gulps. Oh dear.
But all I'm asking is, do you think it's possible? Otherwise, we'll have to come up with something else.
Mm, nature. Nature has its own order, but also is capable of ruthlessness when boundaries are crossed. And to be perfectly honest, please don't hate me.
Go on.
I may or may not agree with the Dryads.
Right.
I wish to emphasize not. Maybe maybe this is maybe I have become a little bit too civilized. I don't know, but the 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 part about coming after the entire village, maybe that is a bit much. But I am angry.
I mean, I don't see it any other way than when we have been fighting the Chernobog, for example. It hurt us. We hurt it. It's just how it goes. In the only difference here is that they're not actively going for the woodsman, and it feels like they're hoping for a solution, and their anger might be justified, but they are tempering it somewhat, is my feeling. And if we give them any other option, then that would be useful. But I feel like we're going around in circles. If you don't know, then we should ask. And I feel like we should go to the apothecary and ask, unless Johan, Sahana, you have another suggestion.
Perhaps, I'm sorry to be eavesdropping in the conversation, but
No,
may I suggest if you are having trouble deciding what to do about the Dryads, perhaps it would be advisable to concentrate your efforts on something that you know that you can handle first, and then see if you could. Maybe a solution will find itself for you. I cannot tell you what to do. I am grateful for all your help and trying to sort these issues out, but please do not trouble yourself. If it is beyond you, then please we will try and find a solution to this. But as you said before, there are many avenues that you wish to seek. Perhaps if this is not one that you can continue now, perhaps maybe one of the other tasks would be easier for you to focus on.
I mean, yeah, I was going to say, I think we should probably do that and tackle the guards first, and then take it from there. I just sort of didn't want to deal with the Dryads. Don't feel like we have time. And if there is any way that someone else can do this, that would be great. So it's just sort of a fact-finding mission rather than anything concrete for me personally. But if you, Kane, can't leave until that's dealt with, I don't know what to do.
I feel like with us being here back in the town, no harm would come from at least talking to the woodsman and making him aware of the situation. Tiptoeing around him isn't going to help us, I think, and a conversation with him would be a pittance of time compared to going to see this apothecary.
Okay, I just sort of wanted an idea of what we would be suggesting before going to talk to him. But yes, I agree.
We simply make him aware. I see no reason to lie to this man.
Okay, good. So
If he is not willing to sacrifice himself for his men, then we simply find ourselves back where we already are.
okay, right. Okay. Well, good then. Can we agree to just talk to him then? But guard first.
What do you say, Tisvan?
I have some personal things that I need to discuss with the leader of the guards anyway. But the thing with the Dryads, I think that might be best left for the villagers so they can decide what they want to do. Since it's their village that's being threatened.
Good. So we agree.
I
Seems
guess so.
like it.
Okay. Good. So that's a plan. We talk to the guard. We sort that out. And then we go and talk to woodsman person. Give him some suggestions for what to do. Get him to fess up as well so we know that he did stuff. And leave it with him. Possibly. And then we just need a few things and then we leave. And we go north to the healer.
Yes.
Okay. Before anything else though, just can someone just explain how time works here? Johan, I guess you're the only one who can talk and is from here. Would you mind?
Sure, of course. This is probably something I guess is must be different from where you are from. You want to know how to tell the time of day, I suppose.
Yeah. Because we have no idea, and I don't understand.
Well, I suppose yes, of course I can tell you. I do not know how time works in the mortal plane, but here we have what we call days, and then there are, if many days together are called weeks, and many months, weeks are comprised of the months, and months will become years. And
Okay, good. So far, so the same.
you have days and weeks, and is this the same? Am I going over?
But how do you tell what's day and what's night?
Well, generally we count the days one at a time. But today, for instance, today is Noctis Day.
Okay, but how do you know that it's day? It looks the same as the night, too.
Well, you see, we are currently in the month of Penumbra, and this is the month of Twilight.
Oh,
So it can be more difficult to tell the time of day in this month, but please follow me. And he sort of reaches out and just takes your hand, Galatier.
Galatier follows.
And he leads you out onto the sort of veranda, I guess, outside of the house, so that you can look up and you can see the sky. And he will sort of beckon to the others, the rest of you, to follow as well, and then probably realizes that he's sort of holding your hand, and he just lets go of your hand, Galatier. This way, outside, please. All of you, come. And when you get outside, he sort of points up into the sky, this twilight that's there. And although it's twilight, there are some clouds. The sky is relatively clear. And he calls you over, Galatier, and he says, if you look here, straight up into the sky, you can usually see, it would be better if it was, it'd be easier if it was not twilight, but if you look here, and he just sort of guides your eye line as he points up, and he says, you can see in the sky here, there are 3, 1, 2, 3, and he points to, you can see it now being pointed out in the direction he's going, but there are 3 moons, 1 large and 2 small, and they have a slight orangey color to them. And he says, with the number of the moons and the color indicates to us the week, and when the color changes, we know we are at the beginning of a new week. And then the days, there are 3 days: Dust Day, Noctis Day, and Aurora Day.
Could you put that somewhere? Because I can't spell those.
I would, yeah.
I started making notes and I was like,
Welcome to Eiffel when Mary tried to explain it to Hamaros.
I'm sorry if I am going too quickly here. Essentially, you can tell the day of the week, or the day and the week, by knowing the color and the shifts of the moon that you can see within the sky.
okay, well, that makes sense.
I will say, one other thing you may not be aware of, again, I do not know how this time works where you are from, but different weeks have different hours of day and night.
Oh,
For example, are your hours the same as our hours? Do you have 60 minutes in an hour?
yeah.
That's good. Then there are 15 hours in the day currently, and 8 hours of night.
Oh,
But when we get into the waxing week, there will be 31 hours of day and only 6 hours of night. And the waning week has 20 hours of day and 4 hours of night.
okay. Galatier will just pop back inside and get the little piece of paper and scribble down as much possible and like ask little questions once in a while just to reassure that she got it right and correct any mistakes.
Yeah, he'll have a look at it and say, yes, this, yes, so this is... And he said, he'll tell you that basically, yeah, there are 3 different colours, and I'll put this all in a document for you. But essentially,
Thank you.
there are 3 weeks to every month, and there are 3 days to every week. The first week is the waning week, the second week is the dark week, and the third week is the waxing week. And the first week, the moon colours are green. The second week, the colours are orange, and the last week, the colour is white. And so by those colours, and obviously knowing that there are 3 days in the week, as soon as the colour changes, that means you're into the next week. And there are 3 days that you would go through. Now, the hours and the nights are difficult to tell at the moment because obviously it's twilight, but he's told you that this month is the month of twilight. So from that, you could gather that perhaps twilight isn't going to be consistent. It's just the month you're currently in. And he told you that it is Noctis Day, and the color is orange, which means you're on the second day of the second week. And so you are basically halfway through the month.
Yeah.
But I will write these down. And the moons also have names and stuff, but I won't give you even more names at the moment. But I will write this down for you so you have a kind of a calendar for you. And in fact, he will also take from around his neck, he has a pendant of sorts that you didn't notice before that he has. That seems to be some kind of hour timekeeping device. And it seems to just be a pebble on a cord. But when you hold it up, it has a what looks like a leaf, a swirl of a leaf pattern. That sort of, as you're looking, you don't really notice it, but as he was talking and sort of time went on, you notice that the shape seems to rotate. And he will tell you that every time this rotates, an hour has passed.
Oh, okay. How do we get one of those?
You can take this one, please. And he'll take it off from around his neck, and then he'll gently tie it back behind your neck.
Are you sure?
Of course.
Thank you.
I can probably predict the hours and time now myself. I have been born here all my life, but it is it was my father's.
Oh no.
No, but please keep it. It is. I hope you brings you luck.
Galatea touches it and lifts it up and tries to look at it a little awkwardly, and then gives him a nod and a little smile and just says thank you.
You are, as I said before, you are more than welcome.
Okay, we should probably get on with things. Galatea sort of raking back hair into the ponytail, just sort of making it more messy, and looks around at the others as if just to sort of realize that they're there.
Amros is looking at the two of them, just slightly raising an eyebrow, like, is there something going on between you two? Not saying anything, just giving that look.
And then,
Blushes.
and with that final blush, we will end tonight's session.
Okay.
Thank you very much for everyone for playing. I hope you have had fun, even if we have not left the house yet. But it sounds like some decisions have been made.
This is very typical for a party. We take a long time getting anywhere, but when we finally get there, shit happens.
Hey, you guys might have stayed in the house the whole session, but me, I was chilling by the lakeside.
You were chilling by the lakeside, and you
True enough.
were exploring stairways to other floors that no one else has ever been to.